The masses gather here to speak their piece. Some fall to the wolves. Others struggle and rise above them all. Enter into the sinister mind of our host. Dive deeper than any mortal has gone before. BODS Mayhem Hour is upon us.
Hi, this is Joe Bouchard, formerly of the Blue Oyster Cult, and you are listening to BODS Mayhem Hour. Yeah.
The views and opinions of the guests do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of BODS Mayhem Hour, its staff, affiliates, or sponsors. Parental discretion is advised. Welcome to BODS Mayhem Hour.
Hey everybody, welcome to BODS Mayhem Hour. I am your host, John the Bod, aka the Bod Father, and as always, bring you guys and gals awesome interviews. But before we get into our interview today, please get out and subscribe to the BODS Mayhem Hour YouTube page. It takes 2 seconds just to go subscribe, hit the little notification bell, and that helps me out, and that helps all these awesome people who come on here out as well, because I think I do a great job with these interviews. These guys and gals who come on here are very, very, very awesome, and I cannot thank them enough for sure. Today's guest on the show is Joe Bouchard, co-founder and former member of Blue Oyster Cult, and author.
Yeah.
Joe has released his 7th solo studio album entitled American Rocker via Deko Entertainment. And you also want to check out singles My Way is the Highway and Deadly Kisses. Also, Joe plays in a band with his brother, Albert, as the Bouchard Brothers, and another project called Blue Coupe. And we're going to be talking to Joe about all kinds of stuff. So
Cool.
Long intro, but welcome to the show, Joe. And how you doing, my friend?
Hey, it's great to be here.
Glad to have you on here, man. Finally.
Yeah.
Dude.
Yeah.
So you left Blue Oyster Cult in 1986. Did you just need a break to recharge the batteries?
Yeah, I think so. I did it for 16 years, and it was pretty much constant. It was a good run. I just felt like it was time for a change. So I had a change. It was fun. It was, there were a lot of reasons why I felt like it was time to leave. I had a young family at the time, my 2 daughters. I missed a lot of their childhood being on the road. So I was ready for that. And I wanted to try some different things. And it's been an incredible ride since then. I played guest spots with a lot of bands. I went to Iraq. I actually played in a band in Iraq in 2010.
Nice.
So, yeah. That's already 20 years.
Gee.
20 years ago. Wow.
Yeah.
Fantastic experience there. And I worked in the publishing business. I wrote some books. I like working on albums with the bands and as a solo artist. So I'm really excited about this new album, American Rocker. It's a real rockin' album. I don't think there's enough rockin' albums out there. So it was time to do an album that was really related to my world in the 70s when I was an eager young, right out of college and right into the band pretty much. And, we got very lucky and made 14 albums for Columbia Records. There's a lot more now because they've reissued a lot of the old ones. So new packaging and stuff. But it was quite a ride.
How excited are you to have your 7th solo studio album titled American Rocker out right now? Did you ever think that you would have 7 as a solo artist?
Well, I was shooting for 20. I long time ago when I started doing this, I read about a guy, Joe Purdy, nice guy. He had about 15 albums out, and his manager was bragging that he could make a living off of these 15 albums. So, I don't know. I think it's, managers always kind of exaggerate the situation. But I'm 7. I'm ready to do a couple more.
Yeah, hell yeah, man. You got more to do, sir. Got more to do.
but the main thing is I'm really excited that this one came out so strong. They've been getting better and better all the time. I think I get to be a better producer. I can produce myself better. I brought some nice people in on this. Mickey Curry plays the drums. He's an amazing drummer. He plays with Bryan Adams. He played with Hall & Oates and Cher and the Cult and Alice Cooper. He played with Alice Cooper. And then my brother helped me on a few songs here. And my partner, Joan, she sings on a few tracks here. When I can't sing it high enough, I bring in the extra reinforcements for the high parts. But it all just fits together really nice. People say this album really sounds expansive and epic, So I was going for that, what a good 70s album would be, when band albums were really big and tried to hit the marks there as much as I could.
And you had those days of the 2-inch tape and crisp and full albums, man. And now you've got this digital era, which I'm not knocking it. It all sounds good, but I tend to like the older style. Not to you guys for what you guys did making albums, because it just sounded so full of natural sounds, if that makes sense.
Yeah, we did. We were very lucky. We had some of the best engineers. We had a big budget.
Yeah.
Sure. We could just spend money like it was going out of style. But we could do it. We could do it fast and cheap, and we could do it slow and expensive. We did it both ways, and all the time I was learning stuff from. We had our manager was our first producer, and his partner and another guy named Dave Lucas. They did the first record, and then Dave came back and did the big hit record with us. And then we got to use people like Tom Werman, who did Cheap Trick Records. And we did an album with Martin Birch. I was thinking Birch Martin. It's kind of like, no, Martin Birch. We got to do 2 albums with him, and he was fabulous, I mean, he did Machine Head for Deep Purple. And we said, hey, that's good enough resume for me, And then we did another album with Bruce Fairburn, who did the amazing Aerosmith revival records, the comeback albums for Aerosmith. He did Bon Jovi.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, the record he did with us didn't sell. But you learn from your mistakes.
Sure.
I guess you learn from your mistakes. And, so I have a big head full of knowledge from all these guys. Well, at least I got to do it once or twice with those guys, and they taught me a lot about, how to get a sound out of the guitar, and, how to make it feel right, and, how to mix it and things like that. It's all good.
All right, Joe, I got to know what led the track My Way is the Highway to be the first track released off.
It was the most rocking track on the album. I talked to a lot of people that said, that's really rocking. You should put that out first, And it was fun because Mickey played the drum track. And then I sent it to my brother, and he said, I think it needs some percussion, maybe a little cowbell. Would do it. And then it was all mixed down and everything. I sent it back to Mickey. Say, what do you think, Mickey? He says, it sounds great, but the cowbell is actually amazing. Anyway. I've worked with Albert a lot over the years. He's a fantastic drummer. And one of his favorite drummers is Mickey Curry. And Mickey, every time I'm with Mickey, says, I love your brother's playing. So it was really nice that they both came together on this album for the first time. And it rocks. It's short, a short song. Somebody said, "Whoa, where's the guitar solo?" But it didn't need it. To me, it just felt perfect the way it was. A nice. It's probably one of the more commercial tracks I've ever done because I think it has that sort of chorus that explodes. So anyway. It's been doing great. I made a video for it. Had a lot of fun with that. So that was a very good lead off. I wasn't sure on the last album if I put the right song out first.
Right.
Because that first impression really sticks with people. So I think that's a good first impression. Maybe it's not as deep as some of the other tracks. But, I'm looking for fun. People have been cooped up for a couple of years now. Yeah. They want a happy sound. They want an up tempo, song that makes them want to dance.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah.
Now, I want to ask this, man, because you just mentioned something to me that I fondly remember as a kid watching Saturday Night Live, and I absolutely love it. And I think that it gave more acknowledgement to you guys, in Blue Oyster Cult. In my opinion, that was a nod to you guys to say, hey, that's fucking amazing what you guys have done. But when you see the Cowbell skit on there, what was your thoughts? I mean, do you think that helped for the people who didn't know Blue Oyster Cult to come around and say, we got to check this out?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
In fact, I was getting a routine test with a young, very nice looking young, doctor's assistant. And she says, "What do you do?" And I said, "Well, I play music. Yeah. I used to be in a band." And she said, "Oh, I don't know anything about bands." Well, I said, "Well, did you ever hear of Blue Oyster Cult?" "Oh, no. But did you ever hear the expression more cowbell?" "Oh, yeah."
That's where it come from.
That's, what can I say? He said, "Well, that's me, that's me. Horatio Sands was me in the skit." They did a great job. I just watched that this morning.
Really?
On TikTok. No less.
Wow.
I'm trying to figure this stuff out.
Yeah.
I don't even know what the hell Twitter does. $44 billion, what does it do? I don't know. You're supposed to, jump from this tweet to there to retweets and but I don't understand it,
Yeah.
But for some reason I was on TikTok this morning and I did a search on Blue Oyster Cult. The first thing that came up was Will Ferrell, Christopher Walken, and the whole thing, the whole skit. The whole skit was on TikTok.
It was great.
I didn't know, But anyway, I'm learning all of these things.
That was the coolest thing that I've ever seen. And I love music. And I love your guys' music too.
Yeah, thanks.
Your stuff. But when Christopher Walken comes in, I need more cowbell. I need it. More cowbell.
I could have used some more cowbell.
Yeah, it's like, that was like the perfect line.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. and we love it too. All of us love it.
Oh yeah, sure.
Yeah, because it connected us with this doctor's assistant who's probably only about 20 years old.
Wow.
Or that whole generation. And then it's good because they look into that song, which is our biggest song, but they go in and they find there's a big catalog of back material that's really good and it hasn't been overplayed. Some of the pop songs from our era, you just don't want to hear them anymore. You don't want to hear them anymore. Yeah. But there's that weird Blue Oyster Cult song. I could hear that one again, and whatever it is, veteran of the psychic wars, it's all good. It's all good.
So back to your album, are these all brand new songs or songs that didn't make a previous album or anything?
No,
like that?
all new.
Okay.
This is my pandemic album. I put out an album in the pandemic, my 6th album, but I had already recorded most of the songs or written most of the songs before it. So this one was like me, just trying to figure out, well, I got some time off here, the distributor really wants another album. My brother had put out his 2nd double album, and so we've always been competitive. So the fact that he got a 2nd one out, and it's really good too. It's called "Imagine Those Two Bombs Over Germany," and I'm helping him now with his 3rd double album. And I just finished a vocal. I sent it to him last night. That'll be on the album, and the guys from Blue Oyster Cult are on it. It's going to be great. Which is going to be Imagine Those Three. It's a trifecta of Blue Oyster Cult songs and songs that go back to the earliest days of the band. But this is all new. There's one track on here that I had, Deadly Kisses, that I had in a very rough form for probably about maybe 8 or 9 years.
Oh, wow.
But everything else, it's like one of those things. It's just a sketch. It was a voice memo. It was a voice memo on my phone, and it had that haunting piano part on it, very haunting piano part. So I finally got around to finishing the lyrics and putting it all together, and that one came out great. Enjoyed that so much. But all the others are brand new, and the stories go back. The stories go back to the 70s and even the 60s, because you got to write about what and it's the most lyrics I've ever written for one album. So most lyrics. I have 2 songs that I had outside lyricists, write the lyrics for me. But I write all the lyrics on the other ones. It was a fun adventure, to think of myself as, instead of just doing covers and instrumentals and stuff like that, but to actually put myself in the chair of like, you got to make this good, you got to make it work for, and, things came up that inspired me. I did a benefit for somebody in England. It was for a children's hospital. And how can you turn that down,
Exactly.
So I did a song, I sent a song, and then I said, it was kind of a rock and roll, what was it called? Something rock and roll, I live for rock and roll, something like that. And I said, wait a minute, why don't I do something for this charity, and I'll send it over to them, and if they use it, fine. If not, so I started working on a piece that was about a guitar hero, and it became the song "Rocket to Fame." So it was, and it started out as sort of a Johnny B. Good, I was thinking maybe Eric Clapton or some of those heroes from back in the day. And then I sort of morphed into more of the story of Blue Oyster Cult and riding the rocket to fame, riding the roller coaster ride of hit records,
Yep.
And you're heading up the roller coaster, and the record just starts to take off, and then it's being played everywhere. You're selling tickets and you're playing stadiums. Of course, as roller coaster rides will do, you've got some deep plunges.
Sure.
And yeah, it's all good.
Any tracks that did not make this album, Joe, we could see on another album or maybe an EP from you down the road?
Possibly, but I recorded 12 tracks with Mickey on drums, and the last one it was kind of an odd, just didn't fit. So I said, well, if I just do 11, it's still 40 minutes of music, which is a full album in the classic sense, and you could put an hour's worth of music on a CD, but that's usually too much. So I think I got just the right amount, and I feel really strong about every track. You know, usually in the past there were a couple like I had to finish at the last minute just to get it out. You know, I was going out on tour, and so I rushed out the last mixes and got it out. But this one, I really feel strong about. You know, everything that's on the album. You know, and I keep getting comments every day, and the reviews have been great. You know, it's starting to come. You know, people are starting to listen to it. I mean, it's hard. You know, you're competing against the history of music, you know, sure. And how do you do better than Pink Floyd at one time, or, you know.
Oh, God, yeah.
Yeah, you know. I did get to play on a Pink Floyd tribute album.
Oh, nice.
Which was you probably haven't heard it, but I encourage your listeners to look up this Pink Floyd tribute to the Animals album.
Okay.
The song Pigs, 3 different ones. And it's, you know, 12 minutes long. And a record company called me up and said, "Hey, do you want to play bass on this track?" I said, "Sure," you know. So I'm playing the bass, and it took me longer than I thought. It took me about 3 or 4 days just to get everything right, you know. And then I find out that the drummer is going to be this incredible jazz drummer, Billy Cobham, who played with Mahavishnu back in the 70s. We've known Billy for years. And the guitar player was Al Di Meola, incredible guitar player. And that's out now, and that's doing really well. You know, Patrick Moraz, keyboard player from Yes, and everybody says it's a great track. So I'm very proud of that one. You know, and I'm doing another one for the same company with the bass player from Yes.
Oh, nice.
Just, you know, just a one track. It's a prog rock compilation. But I'm looking forward to that. That's going to be that. It's great. It's great company to be, you know, working with on the side.
Yeah.
This is my main thing.
Now, let me ask you this though, man. I know these tracks are your babies. I know they're like your children. But which one stands out the most to you? I know you've got a few that probably stick out the most, but are there any that stick out for you? Maybe.
Well, yes. There's one called Off Season Hotel, and it's kind of a 2-part story. The first part is back in the 60s. I was a band leader in a resort. Played jazz, we played bossa novas, we played, you know, we backed up opera singers. We did smooth jazz, we did hard jazz, we did instrumentals. And that was my summer job for 2 summers, was to be a band leader in a resort. And we had the best time. It was so much fun. But then you get to the end of the summer and you have that big Labor Day party. And everybody's having a great time. And it's like the biggest night of the whole summer is that Labor Day party. And then the week after that, we stayed there another week, and it was like a ghost. It was empty. It was like dead.
Wow.
You know. And then all the staff, this is upstate New York, all the staff would drive down to Florida and do their winter job in another resort down there, rotating it, you know. So that was a great, I've always wanted to write about that because it was such a fun part of my life. Then 30 years later, my brother calls me up and says, "Hey, I got a gig in Florida. It's at this convention for the Ghost Hunters." Do you remember the Ghost Hunters TV show?
Yep, sure do.
Yeah, I used to watch it. I used to watch it all the time. So they were having a convention. They were having a convention at this old hotel in Florida. It was the largest, oldest wooden structure in Florida. It's been torn down since then. But we had a great time. You know, we played our show in the afternoon. And then that night we're sitting around the bar and there's all these TV screens in the bar. So I asked somebody, what are all these TV screens doing? He said, Well, they're having a ghost hunt up in the attic of the hotel. So they had planted, cameras, closed circuit cameras all through the attic of this old hotel. This woman comes over to us and says, "Hey, you want to go on a ghost hunt?" Yeah. I said, "What? Yeah, sure. Why not? What else you got to do?" So she gets us these night vision goggles, and we got listening devices. And the next thing you know, we're up in this attic of the hotel for 2 hours.
Yep.
and she'd say, "Did you hear that? I think I hear something." This is where the staff's quarters would be, up in the attic. Yeah. And like, there could be somebody trying to contact us and maybe died here. I was like, what the heck is this? So I'm thinking about this, the story of, playing up in the Thousand Islands up on St. Lawrence River in a resort, and then going 30 years later and looking for ghosts in a resort, So that was the story with Off Season Hotel. And I think it's a really cool theme for a song. I got my friend John Jorgensen to play some flamenco guitar, the fanciest guitar on that. And it takes me back to that place. Both places. It takes me back to both places.
That's what I'm doing next Friday. I do a paranormal podcast, and we're doing a live podcast.
Oh, yeah.
For a paranormal investigation.
Cool.
Which I love it.
Yeah. So well, we got there because of my friend Peter Robbins. He's written several books on UFOs. He's a UFO specialist. And let's see, who else was there? Linda Blair from The Exorcist.
Oh wow, yeah.
And all the guys from the TV show. It was a lot of fun. Everybody was having a good time. Yeah.
Now you mentioned earlier you've seen growth working on this album, but what's the growth that you've seen from yourself? Being a solo artist, plus now producing your own albums, just things like that. What do you see that's progressed with you mostly?
Well, I'm in a tremendous situation right now. My life partner, is an artist, and she does events at museums. Talks about her mentor, Willem de Kooning, who she studied with back in the 70s. So this environment that I'm in now, and I'm so grateful, is so artistic. It's like she's been painting, she's coming up with new things, and she's on Zooms with the curators of museums, and we go on trips to all these famous museums, and just enjoying this sort of artistic life, and yeah, it's all good.
How was working with Mickey Curry on this? And you mentioned he worked with Bryan Adams, Hall & Oates, and Alice Cooper, of course.
Yeah.
How's working with him, man?
Oh, well, it was kind of a fluke that I got connected with him. I went to an open mic just for fun at a local bar around here, and there was this guy there who played the flute, and he says, "You want to do some Jethro Tull?" And I said, "Sure, why not?" So we learned locomotive breath, and we're playing with this guy Todd, and come to find out, this guy is Todd Curry, Mickey's brother. And I'm thinking, I don't need a flute player, but I do need a drummer. So he got me his number, and Mickey is the easiest to work with ever. I mean, he comes over here. I have all the songs pretty much written, and temporary drum parts, built from loops. And he listens to it and he says, "Oh yeah, okay," and he's thinking, and then he'll write out some notes, but then it's just a breeze. We go into a studio that he knows the guy. They grew up with the guy, one of his oldest friends in Connecticut, and they have a beautiful studio, big high ceiling, and he just knocks it out. I think the album before this, we had 2 sessions. He did the whole album in 2 sessions, and this last one, he did it all in one day.
Wow.
Yeah.
Jeez.
So I mean, and we were kind of celebrating because this is the first time we had been out of the house without a mask. The first time we went to a diner and actually ate a meal in a diner.
Mm-hmm.
And we were like, yeah, high fives. No, but I did push him. I said, did Bryan Adams ever make you do 12 songs in a day? He says, no, maybe 2, maybe 3, but that was it, So anyway, I appreciate his dedication and his skill. He makes everything feel great. And then I go back in and I redo my bass parts because there's something about when the bass locks in with the drums. Ooh, that's it,
Yeah.
And some of the stuff I can keep from the demo, but mostly I start over there and cut it, getting that excitement that he gets on the drums really excites me.
Oh yeah.
And it's it'd be great if it was the old days, the analog days, where you got a big fat, big tape recorder and
Yes, sir.
And in the whole bands, we got 2 weeks or 3 weeks to record things. But this is a pretty efficient way of doing it, especially with all the experience that I've had, and Mickey with all of his experience, and working with the engineer who knows what the best of what Mickey can do, and gets it into the machines like it's a breeze, So yeah.
I gotta ask this, man, because when I saw this, I was like, whoa, this blew me out of the water, which I knew that they did it, but I want your take on it. You see Metallica in 1995. And
Yes.
Then 2 years later, they covered your song Astronomy. And you wrote the melody while walking on the beach, man, of all places.
Yes.
When you found out that Metallica was going to cover the song, what was your thoughts? And when you found out that they did it and you listened to it, what was all your thoughts going through all this process?
Oh, okay. So I'd heard that they were doing a cover of Blue Oyster Cult, and I didn't know what it was. I just thought it would probably be one of the usuals, certainly nothing that I had anything to do with. Then I found out it was Astronomy. So I quit my day job. I quit my day job. Whoa, just to have my name on a Metallica record. Because they're pretty awesome band, And then, maybe a couple of weeks later, I go to my mailbox, my post office box, and there's a cassette, regular cassette. I must have it in one of these boxes here, and it's a mix of Astronomy. So I'm driving around in my Datsun, my old Datsun, and putting it in the dashboard player, and I'm going, wow, I can't believe this. I had a hard time driving.
Yeah.
I really wanted to jump up and down, but I had to drive the car. Yeah, I mean, when I hear James's voice, and he's trying to sound like Eric, which is bizarre to me, And then when Lars's kick drum comes in, and I say, oh, this is amazing. And the whole thing is good. I mean, it's, a lot of people still like the original version of that.
Sure.
When you have a song with a history like that, you can't really, but I thought they did it really justice. I love that version, And it told me I should write more songs.
Yeah, for sure. I'm a huge Metallica fan, but they did Astronomy very awesome, and they did Turn the Page by Bob Seger very awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, they just knocked that song out of the ballpark. It's like, oh God.
I love their version of Whiskey in the Jar.
Yes, that one too.
I've never won a Grammy but I was right next to the track that won the Grammy. So, Whiskey in a Jar won a Grammy for Best Rock Performance. Astronomy was right next to it. So that's close.
Yeah, that's close.
That's close. I'll take that.
All right, Joe, what do you hope everyone takes away while listening to American rock? Or what do you hope, man, when they pop it in and start to jam out to it?
I just hope that they get a good feeling and it makes them happy. It made me happy, writing a lot of these songs about my life in the 70s, which, was really, really exciting. It's just a fun record.
I love seeing the excitement in your face and your smile, man. I could tell you've had fun with this. And plus, over the years of what you went through, I mean, when it's finally all said and done, what do you hope people will say about your music and your time with Blue Oyster, man? What do you hope?
Man, that's deep.
Yeah.
I thought I did a good job with the band.
Sure.
I dreamed this, as was my dream in high school, that I was going to be a rock star someday. In fact, earlier than that, maybe like 8th grade, we had a little band, and I said, yeah, I'm going to be a rock star. Sure, why not? So I can go and, talk to my grandson, my granddaughter about it,
Mm-hmm.
And he says, hey, Pop, are you a billionaire? Are you a billionaire? You were in the Blue Oyster Cult. This is 12 years old.
Yeah.
I say, Hoyt, what you got to do, study your math. Study your math. Learn percentages. So now he's mining Bitcoin.
Oh, wow. That's a big thing right now. That's a huge thing. And it's crazy.
And this is his little league team, the Pirates.
Oh, it's nice. God,
I just saw his last little league game the other day.
That's so cool. Man.
Yeah, I've been, it's for a lot of the old rockers, it's not that much fun. Yeah. Maybe things didn't work out, but I cannot complain. I just had a beautiful life, and I try to put that into put it into the grooves. Maybe I'll do other things. I've been thinking about writing a book.
Hey,
but it's hard. It's my friend Dennis Dunaway. I play with Dennis, who played with Alice Cooper, a founder of Alice Cooper. And we have a band called Blue Coop. We're going on tour in July. We're going to be doing a tour of Canada and upstate New York. And he put out a book, My Life. Yes. What's it called? Guillotines, Electric Chairs, and My Life with the Alice Cooper Group. So, but I don't know if I could do one that's that clever. But who knows? I certainly have a lot of memories and a lot of things that I would like to save for my grandkids.
Sure. Now I know you had a lot of music growing up, and I know you still have a lot of music to this day, Joe. But do you have a go-to album or song that you find yourself going back to that you can't kick it out after all these years, man? You've got to have that album at least once a month, something like that, man.
I don't know. It's changed a lot, especially, I was a big album guy. I would put on albums a lot. But now it's the streaming world, and you have so many choices. It's I don't know. What do I want to do? All right. I play a lot of Sinatra.
Hey, nothing wrong.
Hey, did you hear Mark Tremonti?
Yes, he did a Frank Sinatra. So good, wasn't it?
Unbelievable. And then you go and I'll listen to some other stuff that he does. And then he's the heaviest, dirtiest, nastiest, darkest. Then he puts on the suit. He gets the band. Oh my God.
Yeah, he's got Sinatra's bandmates with him, man.
That's really funny. That's really funny.
And that shows you how good of a musician.
He's slick. He's slick too. He's slick. It's not easy to do that stuff.
No.
Anyway, yeah. So I've been listening to that, but it's usually things just pop up. I like the Black Keys. I like the Black Keys.
Good band.
And they didn't do anything for a long time. Who else? Måneskin. It's a band from Italy. I've heard a few of their things there. I don't know if any of that is as good as Rubber Soul by the Beatles,
Yeah.
or Sticky Fingers by the Stones. I go for that stuff. I go for that. I'm an old school guy,
Yeah. Folks, you want to get out and pick up American Rocker from Joe Bouchard. You will not be disappointed, my friends and listeners. Joe, my friend, how can folks stay in touch with you? Buy this album. Everything you got, man. How can they do that?
JoeBouchard.com. That's JoeBouchard.com. It's got everything there. There's videos. There's all kinds of stuff. Bio, concert dates, where I'm going to be. It's all right there. It's all good. It's all good. That's it. And, Deko Entertainment's our distributor. They have a great deal on our CDs. So you could search Deko, Deko, and Joe Bouchard, and it'll come right up. And I'm on all the social media stuff, too. If I can ever figure out Twitter.
Oh, my God. Hey, before I let you go, my friend, would you care to do a promo for my show?
Sure, I'd love to. Hi. This is Joe Bouchard, formerly of the Blue Oyster Cult, and you are listening to the BODS Mayhem Radio Hour. Yeah.
Everybody stick around. We got some great stuff coming up, and you only hear these interviews right here on BODS Mayhem Hour. Please get out and check out our Facebook page. It has our podcast link, YouTube link, and like I mentioned earlier, subscribe to that YouTube link because we got a lot of great stuff coming up for you guys and gals. Also, get out, check out American Rocker from Joe Bouchard. You will not be disappointed. It's got some great stuff on here. And also, too, folks, I'm affiliated with Metal Inc. and also Form Obscure, which is an online magazine that features obscure art plus reviews of albums and everything. And Diary of the Madman, the Ultimate Ozzy Osbourne podcast from Dan and Josh. Check those guys out. They know a lot of great stuff. And Joe, my friend, thank you so much for doing this interview.
Great talking to you. It was really fun.
You're listening to BODS Mayhem Hour.
Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.